Aho with speed. Aho. Jarvis, he scores! Seth Jarvis lights the lamp, and Carolina cuts the Penguins' lead in half. Aho spun back. Chatfield, he scores! Jalen Chatfield on another beauty of an assist by Sebastian Aho. And we're going to Pedersen. He heads up, he'll try to clear and can't do it. Good work there by Burns. Staal, Svechnikov, Jarvis, he scores! Back across, Aho gets a stick to it. He's been on the ice for a while, but he'll keep it across the rink. Orlov shot, save made, rebound, game over! Sebastian Aho fills the lane, and his 600th career point gives Carolina a 4-3 win in overtime.
Welcome to the Canes Corner podcast, everyone. I am Adam Gold. Hope you're having a wonderful Sunday late evening. It is considered still late evening, right? Just after, just almost 9:40 Eastern time, wherever you may be. I know we've got Will headed back to App. You're still on Eastern time. Hope you're having a slow, comfortable ride. We have some wintry weather in the area. I know we're supposed to get a little bit of crap tomorrow, but are they forecasting a snow event for next week? Heaven forbid. Snow here? Nah. Shouts to you in Fayetteville. By the way, Will is not enjoying because he's driving, but will be enjoying a long leaf IPA from Appalachian Brewing. Anyway, we thank you very much for spending some time here on the Canes Corner podcast. We are brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it is for the exterior of your home, I say it every time. You can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina, aluminumcompany.com. Windows, doors, roofing, gutters, everything. Everything. It makes your home more beautiful, more energy efficient. Sammy Hanna's crew do a great job. All right. Well, that was interesting, wasn't it? It was not the start in terms of the scoreboard that Carolina fans or Carolina players or the head coach would have wanted. But it also wasn't a terrible start in terms of the way they played. Sebastian Aho said it after the game, and I agree. I know Carolina trailed 2-0, but, I mean, it happens. And we'll go through the goals because I think there are things to be learned. But Carolina didn't play a terrible first period. As a matter of fact, I mean, dominated is not the right word. I think Carolina was probably the better team in the first period. Trailed 2-0. Them's the breaks. Professional sports, right? Sometimes you do everything right and it still doesn't work. And obviously Carolina didn't do everything right in the first period. But they weren't trash. And I know the scoreboard ultimately, I mean, that's the jury, right? But that doesn't mean the jury's always right. Sometimes the team that doesn't deserve to win wins. Tonight, the team that deserved to win the game won the game. I don't think Carolina was outplayed in the first period. I think Carolina probably outplayed Pittsburgh in the first period and trailed 2-0. The second period was utter domination. And the third period, I actually thought the Penguins played pretty well in the third period, maybe even slightly better than Carolina. Carolina got a couple of nice saves out of Dustin Tokarski. They killed off a tremendous penalty kill that was caused when Jalen Chatfield threw the puck over the glass with 3:01 left. And you're thinking, man, Carolina's been the better team. Pittsburgh's power play has been absolutely on fire. They were 9 of 19 coming into tonight. 9 of their last 19. 9 of their last 22 still sounds good, doesn't it? But the Hurricanes really did a great job on the Penguins' power play. And so they get to the final, they kill off the game, actually won a bunch of defensive zone faceoffs in the last 60 seconds after the Pittsburgh power play expired. But then you go to overtime, and then Sebastian Aho doesn't leave the ice. So I kind of want to start there. And here's what we're going to talk about in the next, 25 minutes. We're going to talk about Aho, Jarvis, the penalty kill, Jalen Chatfield, Jackson Blake, Andrei Svechnikov, and we'll go through the goals. Does that make sense? All right, let's see how much we can get done. So, but I want to start with the overtime game winner because it's routine at this point, and I appreciate the fact that people have stopped asking me, why does Rod Brindamore start Jordan Staal in every overtime? Every one. Staal goes out and takes the first faceoff. It's Staal, Slavin, and Burns. Now, there used to be a time where he'd keep Slavin and Burns on. That no longer happens. But Staal, Slavin, and Burns, and the thought process is if Staal doesn't win the draw, Rod wants a more of a defensive setup, which I totally get. So he keeps those three guys on the ice. But if Staal wins the draw, off goes Jordan, on comes Aho, off goes, in this case, Burns, on comes Necas, and now you've got Aho, Necas, and Slavin. Burns eventually came on, and then Orlov came on. Necas and Aho were still on the ice. Absolutely remarkable. In fact, and I said this during the network postgame show, if my mic was live, you would have heard me say, why the heck is Aho still on the ice? The goal was scored at 3:30. So Aho, after playing nearly 20 minutes, nearly 20 minutes, 19 and a half minutes roughly of a 60-minute game, was on the ice for, I think, 84 seconds of 3-on-3. I really thought he was going off. I actually think Necas might have gotten off the ice. I'd have to go check and see if he was credited with being on the ice. He got an assist. But I was shocked that Aho was still on. Carolina they changed D-men twice. And I thought, all right, let's get two other guys out here because Necas and Aho have to be exhausted. And Aho got to the front of the net and put in the rebound of the Dmitry Orlov shot. And that was the game ender. But a great, great game from Aho. So he's a bit underrated is not the right word because he is not an underrated player. He is a second-tier superstar. I don't even know if that makes sense. And maybe to use the term superstar might not even be fair to actual superstars, to the, Nathan McKinnons, Connor McDavids, Cale Makars, those players. Because that's not Sebastian. He's not that guy. What he is, and you know how I've always referred to Aho as gumbo. Because it's sort of slow heat. It's like, he doesn't necessarily, freak you out. It's not super spicy. It's just kind of a quiet, slow spice. But he's a great player. And he's a great 200-foot player. And tonight, some of his best work in an elite-level game was defensively in the defensive zone or in the neutral zone where the first goal began. He won 13 of 16 faceoffs, absolutely bossed Sidney Crosby in the faceoff circle. If you go back, I know, yesterday nobody played great. I actually thought that Aho and Jarvis if Jarvis finishes a couple of the feeds that Aho gave him, last night's game might have ended completely differently. No joke. But I'm not even here to lobby that we should look at last night differently because we shouldn't. Last night is what it was. 4-0 loss to the Wild, which was really anemic after the first period. But Carolina had chances to score in the first. Aho and Jarvis in the last few minutes had two great scoring chances, and Seth just couldn't bury either of them. Only buried two chances tonight. But the first goal happens because Aho makes a play in the neutral zone, steals the puck, enters with speed, and the no-look backhand pass to Jarvis, who finished quickly, blockers side high. That made it 2-1. We'll go through the Pittsburgh goals, too, because I think people kind of lost their minds. There's a lot of anger. A lot of anger on Twitter, especially Kane's Twitter. Sometimes it just doesn't go your way. Doesn't mean that, like, I don't want to hear. Not that I don't want to hear it. I think it's silly. Let's face it, the Canes suck. They're cooked. Like, you people are nuts. People are nuts, and frankly, you like triggered me. I'll admit it. I was triggered, so I got off of it. It's just that there. Maybe there's not as much traffic on Blue Sky, but man, the people who are there, it just seem nicer. It just seemed nicer. Again, this is a me problem, not a you problem. It's a me problem. Then the second goal. Again, this is. I'm going to galaxy brain this one for you. Jack Roslovic sets it all up. I'm going to give Roslovic, he doesn't get an assist. Roslovic sets it all up by giving the puck away just inside the blue line to Brian Rust. Rust is away, up the ice, fast skater. Orlov and Chatfield catch him. Orlov, frankly, I'm not sure that wasn't a slash. Orlov and Chatfield bother him. Chatfield knocks the puck off his stick. Orlov and goes into the corner and wins the battle with Rust for the puck. He gets the puck to Jarvis, who gives it to Aho, and Chatfield has now joined the rush. And Aho spins, whirls, backhand, blind pass, perfect for Chatfield, who skates just below the top of the circles and wires a wrist shot, blocker side high, to make it 2-2. That was 8.5 minutes after the Jarvis goal made it 2-1. 3.5 minutes later, for me, the play of the game was Brent Burns keeping the puck in the offensive zone. And I thought Brent had a good game again tonight. He keeps the puck in. He gets the puck to Jordan Staal, who gives it to Andrei Svechnikov, just below the right faceoff dot. Backhand feed to Jarvis, who came on in a partial change, and he went backhand, forehand, glove side high. What is similar about all three of those goals? I think if I was going to have one main criticism of all of Carolina's offensive players, there's not enough go for the crossbar down. All three goals happened because you elevated the puck. And Jarvis didn't elevate either of his tries yesterday against Minnesota. He doesn't score. So many goaltenders go down quickly. They go into the butterfly or whatever. We don't see enough elevation of the puck. And tonight, all three goals in the second period, the puck was elevated. It's not as simple. I understand this. It's not as simple as, just get it up. Sometimes it's not easy to get it up. I get it. Find the line. But that's how Carolina took a 3-2 lead. As we go through Pittsburgh's goals real quick, the first goal, the Kevin Hayes goal, which was a 3-on-1, the only real poor decision Carolina made in the first period was Orlov pinching down the left wall. Jesperi Kotkaniemi was on the puck. And even if it doesn't win the puck, there's a battle for it. You didn't need to be there, Orlov. But you skated in and knocked Kotkaniemi off the play. So now all of a sudden, Kevin Hayes goes and he's got friends. Hayes goes the other way, and it's a 3-on-1. Jalen Chatfield's back, but can't do anything with 3-on-1. And Kevin Hayes, I believe, went 5-hole on Dustin Tokarski, and there you go. It's 1-0 Pittsburgh. Minute 21 later, elite level play from Erik Karlsson, who's going to the Hall of Fame. He, absolutely torches Jordan Martinook, bless his heart, torches Martinook, spins him around, and then gives the puck to Michael Bunting, who once Karlsson had burned Martinook, everybody's scrambling. Bunting has a free shot from below the top of the two faceoff circles, and he beats Tokarski up high, and it's 2-0, and the building just goes, bleh. But Carolina still played pretty well the rest of the way in the first period. Had a bunch of scoring chances, just didn't finish any of them. And then the second period begins, and you could tell it was just different. Although, not necessarily different. Because the first two shifts of the period, the second, were indicative of this little rut that Carolina is in. And they will be in this rut until they string together 2 or 3 or 4 wins in a row. The Hurricanes have not won consecutively since the 15th and 17th of December. What is tomorrow's the 6th of January. But the second period begins. You win a draw. Aho, by the way, winning the draw. Gets it back to Slavin. Slavin's trying to make a pass down the right side. Whiffs on it. And here comes Sidney Crosby, now has the puck. And all of a sudden, Crosby and company, they're pressuring. I think Crosby, Raquel, and Rust was the top line. Although Crosby showed up in a lot of different spots tonight. And Pittsburgh had 2 really good scoring chances that Tokarski kept out of the net and kept it 2-0. And then the Staal line comes out. Svechnikov joined there because Carrier was out and probably missed tomorrow's game in Tampa, and hopefully no more than that. He's obviously a big player for them. So Svechnikov, Staal, and Martinook, they go on the ice, have a very good shift. Svechnikov makes a gorgeous backhand pass from behind the goal line right out in front to Staal. Actually, sort of maybe just to the right of the goal. And I honestly don't know how Jordan Staal didn't score other than it's Jordan Staal, which I think is a valid reason why he didn't score. He didn't get 100% of the puck, probably got 75% of it, but he kind of hit Nedeljkovic with it. I'm not saying it wasn't also a good save, though, but, it's Jordan Staal, so, the chances of scoring do go down. It was a great opportunity, though. So those were the first 2 shifts of the second, very indicative of how things have gone for the Hurricanes. Even in the first period of times, they were struggling to pass the puck. Again, I used this not analogy, but description yesterday in the loss to Minnesota. It looked like Carolina was playing on choppy ice. I'm not saying they were, but they just could not get a hold of the puck. And there were times in the first period where that happened again tonight. And on that first shift, it kind of did. But anyway, they survived it, and then it was domination the rest of the way. And the only thing that really we had to figure out was, would Carolina dominate and get rewarded for the domination? Because all too many times this year, the Hurricanes have played like that and scored once. But they got 3. They went from 2-0 down to 3-2 up. And even though they had to go to overtime, and I thought the third period was probably even, I give Pittsburgh a lot of credit. They could have gone away because Carolina was all over them. But the Hurricanes managed to drag it into overtime, and thanks to the penalty kill, which was excellent. And they win it because Aho decided he wasn't going to leave the ice. I remember a sequence, was it against Philadelphia? I think it was against Philadelphia this year, where Necas decided I was going to have a 1-minute long shift late in the third period. Actually had 2 of those. They were both about 90 seconds long, actually. And he ended up scoring that goal where he basically willed Carolina to a victory. I don't know if I would describe this as the same thing, but Rod talked about it after the game. He's like, no, he wasn't coming off the ice. I was screaming for him to come off the ice because I thought he was tired and you don't want to give up grade A's the other way. But Carolina had the puck the entire overtime. It was great. That was the perfect overtime, right? They had some scoring chances and got the puck back, won a big faceoff after, I think it was Necas. Was it Necas who was stopped by Nedeljkovic? I think it was. He got an offensive zone faceoff, and Aho won that one too. 13-3 in the faceoff circle tonight. So those are, did I go through all three goals? I don't know. Carolina was really good tonight. Real quick, because I've already gone 20 minutes and we haven't even gotten to all the things I really wanted to talk about tonight. I know that we demand. I do. I'm not using the royal we here. I demand that Sebastian Aho play like a great player all the time. Tonight he did. In Florida, he did. He had moments. I actually thought he was one of Carolina's best players last night, if you could term anybody a best player. He was awesome tonight. Best player in the game. Flat out best player in the game. Second best player in the game plays on his right side, Seth Jarvis. Those two guys get it. They get each other. So Aho's got the game-winning goal. He has 2 assists. Both assists were amazing. You know, it doesn't seem like a lot, but you look at Aho's eyes before he makes the pass to Jarvis. He's looking at Nedeljkovic. Tripp talks about it. I've talked about it. Don't give up the fact that you're going to pass it. You got to make yourself look like you're going to shoot. Otherwise, you give the goalie too much time. Aho stared at Nedeljkovic. Backhand feed to Jarvis. Perfect spot. Jarvis skates onto it. Boom. It's a goal. The second assist, the one to Chatfield. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying he's the only guy that can do that, but they ain't a ton of guys who can do that. Spun around, backhand, perfect pass to Chatfield. Again, Chatfield just skated right onto it, drifted just below the top of the faceoff circles. Boom. Goal. And then you get to the fact that he was on it. He shot the puck. He had 7 shot attempts. Obviously, 3 were on net. He scores the goal. He willed his team. He really did. He had a great, great game tonight. And it's hard to even, I mean, you can't downplay 13-3 in the faceoff circle and the dominance he had over Sidney Crosby, who was 8-16 on the dot. It's also congratulations to Aho for his 600th NHL point. That seems like a lot for somebody who's still, 27? It's a lot. Then we get to Seth Jarvis, who he admitted after the game that he had a hard time sleeping last night. We could just use the 2 chances he had in the first period. Aho nullifies icing by hustling after the puck, makes a great pass to Jarvis, who just couldn't finish, couldn't elevate the puck, couldn't get it up. Young man. Shouldn't have that problem. And then the second one, same kind of deal. Aho makes a great pass to Jarvis. Can't finish. One of those go in. It might be a different story last night. Neither did, so we saw what happens. It does show you right now that Carolina doesn't have a lot going in terms of, grade A scoring chance creation, because certainly against Minnesota, the chances were few and far between, but the good ones that were there were generally created by 20 and 24. And again, I thought Seth had a great, great game. Aho and Jarvis were spectacular on the penalty kill as well, which went 3 for 3 tonight. Keep in mind, Pittsburgh came in 9 of 19 on the power play in their last few games. And they have been playing well since Thanksgiving, 10-5-2 since Thanksgiving. Now, I guess 10-6-2. I guess it actually is 10-6-2 since Thanksgiving. But that last penalty kill was textbook. I mean, Carolina controlled the puck. They really didn't give Pittsburgh really anything on the last penalty kill. So you got those two guys who combined at 5-on-5. They also shared the ice on a penalty kill. They're a dynamite partnership. I love the fact that those two guys get each other. Then we'll get to Jalen Chatfield, who I joked that he is going to get a star based on that one sequence where he helped nullify Brian Rust in transition. He actually knocks the puck off his stick. Again, I think I said this earlier. Not exactly sure how that wasn't a slash on Orlov, but we'll take it. But it goes the other way, and he ends up finishing the play. But I thought Chatfield played really well anyway, even if he doesn't score the goal. Chatfield and Orlov have been really good together. Again, Dimitri makes a mistake on the first Pittsburgh goal, but I kind of like this game otherwise. So, and remember, he did have the shot that was patted down by Nedeljkovic that fell right to Aho, who finished the play in overtime. All right, let me spend a couple of minutes here, maybe 90 seconds. Have you ever noticed how often Jackson Blake ends up with the puck? And not that somebody passes him the puck. He has a knack for going and getting the puck on his own, little guy. Wins a lot of board battles without being physical. To me, it's very hard to explain, because I think one of my worries about Blake, especially when we get into the playoffs, is that it's going to be a rough physical go for him. He needs, conservatively, 15 pounds of muscle. I think the number is probably closer to 25, but he needs it. He needs to get stronger. But boy, does he come away with the puck a lot. I thought that line was great tonight. I like Juha Jaska. I said this yesterday. I actually said it during the preseason. Like, there's no room for him, but that guy can play in the league. So I'm trying to think if he reminds me of any former Hurricanes. Look, I don't anticipate this being, the same player, but I remember when I first saw Eetu Luostarinen, who now is a pretty big part of the Florida Panthers middle six. I don't know that Jaska doesn't remind me a little bit of that. I thought he played very, very well tonight, and that line was great. Jack Drury was great. Jackson Blake was great. Blake's going to score soon again. He's going to get on a little bit of a scoring binge here, and I wouldn't hate it if we saw Blake play up in the lineup a little bit. But that line's good. Jack Drury's a good player. And you give him an opportunity to play with a goal scorer like Blake is. And I think Jaska's a good grinder. He's a good plumber. That's pretty good. So maybe just leave them together and just play them a little bit more. Because, again, I thought they were good. Credit to Andrei Svechnikov for playing more of an Andrei Svechnikov game tonight. He was good at puck retrievals. He wasn't perfect tonight. He had a fair amount of, what are you doing that for? But I thought there was a lot more energy, a little bit more physicality, a little bit more, he was a pest a little bit more. When Andre can get into those mindsets where he's an annoyance to the other team, I think it helps his game. It's like when Aho plays in a more physical manner. I've always said this about Sebastian Aho. My favorite Aho is angry Aho. When he starts playing with a little bit of an edge, and he can. And I'd like to see Andre play with a little bit of an edge, because he can. And I thought we saw, a good feisty Svechnikov tonight, which I liked. And real quick before we wrap, fourth start for Dustin Tokarski. Third time I would term it as a must-win. It was it Columbus, right, before the holiday? Carolina came off a loss, had to win a game, and they were turning to Tokarski. I think it was Columbus. And he turned in a performance. I think it was Columbus. Turned in a great performance. The game in Nashville, nobody could blame him. I actually think he played pretty well, but gave up 4 goals because Carolina was booty in Nashville. But the second game of the back-to-back against the Devils, they turned to him and said, we need you to go win us a game here. And I'm not going to say that Tokarski won the game, but he was really good against the Devils team that had just beaten Carolina 24 hours earlier. So that was a great, just big wins for the team. And then, based on what happened last night, to give the net to Tokarski, it takes a lot of faith. I know that, Rod is not going to use a goaltender on back-to-back nights unless he feels like he has to. But Tokarski has provided enough confidence, 4 starts, he's been here 3 weeks, that Rod can stick to his plan. So, full credit to the plan, but full credit to Tokarski for coming up big. And I saw, this is another thing about, Twitter tonight. I would have started Kochetkov. I'm like, well, I'm glad you would have. But based on the 2 goals that were scored, neither of which could be hung on the goaltender, I'm really not sure what it would have proven other than Kochetkov would have given up those 2 goals as opposed to Tokarski. So, come on. I get it. It is a results-based world. So that was a good night. It was a good game for Carolina. Now, can you win 2 in a row? Tampa's playing well. The Lightning have an elite power play. Actually, I don't know what the statistics say, but I don't care what the statistics say about Tampa's power play. I know who's on it. And as long as Hedman, Kucherov, Point are on it, I could be on that power play unit and it would still score goals. So Carolina's going to have to play another great game tomorrow. I look forward to seeing what the top line can do on another game where they're going to need him. So there you go. Was there anything else I needed to talk about? Let's see. Javier wants snow. We all do. And I'm sure there was more, but time to wrap this sucker up. And thank you very much for joining us here on the Canes Corner podcast. I am Adam Gold. Once again, youtube.com/Canes Corner. We do it live after every post-game show here on YouTube. And it's available also wherever you get your podcast later on. So whether it's, I use Apple. Some people use Spotify. Some people use People use Google Play. Wherever you get podcasts, get this one. Brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. There it is in the lower right-hand portion of your screen, aluminumcompany.com. For the exterior of your home, check them out. And we'll do this again Tuesday night after the Canes and the Lightning. And then it's Eric Staal week. Yeah, looking forward to seeing number 12 go up to the rafters forever, right? Nobody should wear that number again. Honestly, nobody should wear 30 again either, but we'll eventually get to that. With that said, we will see everybody on Tuesday night late. But first,
back across, Aho gets a stick to it. He's been on the ice for a while, but he'll keep it across the rink. Orlov shot, save made, rebound. Game over! Sebastian Aho fills the lane, and his 600th career point gives Carolina a 4-3 win in overtime.
find the lie. See everybody next time.